Welcome to episode 636 of the Aussie Tech Heads, recorded on the 20th of June 2019. Aussie Tech Heads is brought to you by ATH Web Hosting at athwebhosting.com.au. Servers operate on SSD drives, immediate activation, SSL certificates, Aussie support, domain registration, easy install of WordPress, Joomla and Drupal. And we have back again Australia's two top podcasters. I'm your host, Jason Oakley. I'm joined this week by Will Tompkinson. Hey, Will, are you there?
Hello. Can you see me?
Nope.
Hey, let me just clean my camera a bit.
It's a bit dirty. There we go.
There we go. Is that better?
No, I think it looks more filthy now.
I'm gonna put it back to the way it was. Right?
Yeah, just leave it like that through the show.
Yeah, just saying it's fine. You're on your own.
Okay, so what am I going to talk about this week? How am I? I am fine.
Don't worry, I won't do that. The people on the audio are going,
what?
What just happened?
That'll teach you to watch the YouTube video.
Yeah, I know, right?
Slackers.
It's a high quality special effects that we just discovered at the 10 seconds before the show started.
It is awesome.
When you have a budget of zero and never had effects before, it's like the best effect we've ever had.
How's things up north? You freezing your brass monkeys yet?
Actually, not too bad. We had a couple of cold days where it got down to 1 or 2, but for the most part, it's been 8 or 9 of a morning. It hasn't been. It's been really weird. It's been like 8 or 9 of a morning, which is bearable because there's no wind, so it's not super cold. But
unless you have beans or something.
Then it gets to like 11 o'clock of a morning, and it's freezing. Like it actually, it warms up by 15 degrees, and then it plummets to like 4 again. You're like, why? So,
dear.
But no, it's not too bad. Not super horrible.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it's been a bit cool here. I've had the electric blanket on. Well, I've got electric throw on the bed. And I just turn it on until I hop into bed, and then turn it off again because it's too hot to keep on all night. But I've got the heater going in the background now because it's been getting quite bad. I've got some thermals to try out for this winter. Never had a thermal top before, so chucked that under some stuff. But went out tonight and it kept me quite warm.
Yeah, actually, it's funny in the computer room here. It's sort of shut off from the rest of the house. And with this computer, like doing what I'm doing now, running it pretty hard with the 4 monitors and the lights and everything on, it's actually getting quite hot in here. It's like having a heater in the room.
Bit of sauna there.
Starting to be.
Yeah, so we've got a few interesting things to talk about, some new crypto stuff and gaming systems and things. So, Mr. T, how's that Huawei going?
Are we going to ask?
Yes.
So, so they're, despite America and Australia saying get out, Brazil basically ignored them.
Good on them.
Brazilian government, they're not going to interfere with Hawaii's activities. They've invested so much in the local infrastructure and the infrastructure in general, and they've got an actual office there, and they're like, no.
They got the best 5G technology in the world.
But not only 5G. I mean, they do. If you've got a
phone,
a dongle, or if you've got.
Excuse me. What? Don't go there, girlfriend.
Yeah, if you've got a 4G dongle, or if you've got, even inside a lot of your routers and things like that, they run their chipsets. Like they've just been doing this. It's not just a phone. They're more than just a phone company. They're an infrastructure company. That's what they have been for a long time. But basically, their president said we're a country that needs to be more digitally integrated. And they're helping us do that. So why would we kick them out?
They got the smarts.
Yeah. But whoops, that's the wrong button.
Not like our dumb prime minister is like, yes, sir, Mr. US, sir, we'll do what you say, sir.
Yeah, pretty much. Meanwhile, they've been working on their own operating system, which isn't a new thing. In actual fact, they've been working on their own operating system since start of last. Well, they put a patent on the name since mid last year. So who knows how long they're actually working on it before that.
Hongmeng and ArcOS.
Hongmeng.
ArcOS sounds easier to say.
Yeah, ArcOS I think is the actual infrastructure, like the backbone of it.
Ah,
But the Hongmeng is going to be like, what that particular flavor's called, I guess. But yeah, like it's going to be a lot of weight. It's going to be. It kind of reminds me, reading some of the information, the specs on it, kind of reminds me of the early vanilla Android before it got turned into bloatware.
yeah.
It it's fast, it's lightweight, it's relatively small. It has default integration for I guess social networks and peer-to-peer interaction and everything involving other people, really.
60% faster than Android.
It's depending on the reports you read, but it's definitely faster. So depending on which particular report, it's depending how fast. But
The popularity is going to
once again,
depend on
that comes
getting...
down with it being pared down by not having all that bloatware built in. It's going to be quicker. I mean, you got to remember the original Android was the same because it basically was effectively a GUI on top of Linux, and it made phone calls and it let you check emails. Like it didn't have all this other stuff. Then they've integrated all this other stuff into it. Plus, there's all this app infrastructure that's gone on it, so they've got quite big. But it's the same sort of thing when it slows down. Well, when you make it such lightweight to start with, you can add a bit to it and it's not sort of go over. But yeah, so it'll be Hongmeng OS in China and ArcOS globally, apparently, which is interesting because one of the other phone, I can't think which one of the other phone manufacturers, they have a similar thing. They actually have their own OS that they have in China, and when they ship you the phone internationally, they put Android on it. So
the important thing's going to be can they get Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Twitter, and all this sort of stuff on their new operating system, because Facebook is going to have to make the Facebook app. They won't let anybody else do it. If you can't get Facebook, then people are not going to buy it, right?
But all they need to do is have a web browser based API and it'll work fine. And the average consumer is not going to know the difference between browsing on a web page and browsing in an app. Like if you design your app to be a nice tidy page integration, what's the difference?
Is the US government going to let Facebook website run on the ArcOS platform? They might say, if you detect this operating system, ban it.
But if they're just using, because something like Firefox has got the developer mode where you can tell it what operating system you're running, what software you're running. Like for example, out in the lounge room, because I've got Android on my media center. I've got Linux on my media center. When we try to run Foxtel Go, it won't work because it does not support it on Linux. But through Firefox, you can go in, change it, and tell it that you're running, i.e., Internet Explorer, whatever, or Chrome, whatever, and Windows 10, and it'll report that back, and then it works perfectly fine.
So it's nothing to do with the operating system.
No, it actually the browser can report whatever you want it to report. You just use developer mode, and that can be hard coded into because I've actually got a shortcut on the desktop now.
Yep.
With under the launch command, it's got launch, Firefox, then in brackets it's got web dev -1 blah blah blah, and these other codes after it, which automatically launches it into that mode, so that it goes straight to the correct page with all the parameters preset. So there's absolutely no reason you can't do that. And I mean, what are they going to do? How are they going to determine, what device? I mean, all they've got to do, the other way to get around it is just default put a either Opera or Tor browser on there that has a default VPN, so it automatically browses anonymously from the start.
Anyway.
So,
plus the other thing that we got to admit, if it's a new operating system, it's going to have less attacks by hackers and stuff, because no one's going to... It's like when Mac OS X came out, nobody was trying to hack it. Nobody cared about vulnerabilities or vulnerabilities in its Safari browser or anything like this, because it's like, well, why would I target this little 1% company when I've got Windows is so much huger all over the internet, so they all attack Windows, but now they're starting to shift over to Mac because there's more Macs on there.
And not only that, being a Chinese company, and a lot of the I don't want to say a lot of the hacking comes from China, but a lot of the information from the hacking ends up in China.
Yes.
I'm not saying the Chinese hack, but a lot of that data ends up there.
Yep.
So whether it's paid for by somebody to hack or whatever, but if it's already a Chinese-owned company, well, that's
they're not going to be
less likely to happen. So, but I think if they're smart about it, I don't think they'll have any dramas at all. I mean,
would you be interested in getting a new Huawei phone on macOS?
Well, I'm going to. Once my phone dies, that's the next phone I'm getting. Either that or the one that I can't remember the name of at the moment. Does
Xiaomi?
Note. Yeah, the Xiaomi one. They do a Note. They got a new Note 4 or Note 5 or something out. Which
cool.
is some quad camera thing. It's insane.
Sweet.
It'd be one of those two. And I'm actually probably never going to get another high brand phone again because
Samsung.
Yeah, I mean I've got one now because this is like a 3-year-old phone now. But
yep.
There's nothing in in this that yours doesn't do, and yours is 3 or 4 years newer than mine.
Yep.
This one basically does everything that yours does, and the Chinese phones are higher spec than that again.
Yep.
And you can get a
third of the price.
Well, yeah, $99 gets you a phone that's the same spec as this.
Yeah.
Why does it matter? Who cares if it dies in 2 years?
Yep. You're not paying the
China too that can figure out how to focus.
I thought they're all made there anyway.
Because Logitech certainly can't work it out. And I've got fixed focus on. Go figure how that works. Yeah. But yeah, look, I don't have a problem. And honestly, I think if you're a business owner as well, could you imagine picking up these high spec phones relatively cheap and not having to worry about all the ID safeguards and stuff that corporations have to now? Like if you've got a business phone,
it's something the president should be using.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. But I mean, if somebody takes an Android phone from a business, as a good chance they're going to know how to get the data off it. But if there's a independent operating system on it that's very unknown,
yep.
It's less likely to be a thing. Plus, it's not going to be as popular in terms of people outright flogging them. If you leave one on a table somewhere and they see Huawei on it, they'll go, oh, here, they'll hand it in. It's not a cool phone.
Yeah.
So I don't.
It would be to us geeks. We would love it. Yeah, it'd be like having BIOS running on a phone or something like that. Amiga OS.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, managed correctly, I definitely don't see a problem with it. And I think it's the big two, which is predominantly Samsung and Apple, I think really might be forced to stand up and sort of take a bit of notice now because their hands have been forced.
They've been coasting, haven't they, really?
Yeah, they have been, and the Chinese companies have kind of been riding a bit on the coattails, but now it's going to be a matter of, well, if one Chinese company is banned from trading, who's to say that the other ones won't follow?
Yeah.
So is it really going to make them stand up and take notice and go, well, okay, maybe we should develop our own operating system, or should we use Huawei and pay them a licensing fee,
I think that's more likely, yeah. Huawei's done all of the work.
Yeah.
We'll just license it from them.
And they're only using common hardware. They're only using Snapdragon processors and Qualcomm processors, so there's nothing particularly unusual about their hardware. So there's absolutely really nothing stopping it from being cross-platform like that because it's all common spec.
Yep.
So now the other phone companies are going to go, well, hey, I'll tell you what, we'll give you, 1 cent per phone or something, and we sell 100 million phones a year.
Yep.
You know,
Ka-ching.
like, yeah, exactly. Then suddenly no phone coming out of China has Android on anymore.
People are going to be flying over, buying up the Huawei phones and flying back to the US or Australia, or maybe
We can buy
good
them,
old
we can buy them
Rusty,
on AliExpress.
Rusty Kogan will bring them in. Hey,
Probably.
Russ.
But you can buy them
How's
on
the
AliExpress
court case
anyway.
going, Russ?
AliExpress and
Amazon
I
even.
saw 'em on Amazon, and you can get them on
Banggood.
And, yeah. So you can buy them online now.
My job is in anti-spam, and the first time I started seeing ads for Banggood, I thought,
Banggood.
what kind of porn site is this anyway? I better go check it out for business. Yeah, I've got to research. Oh, I can buy phones and electronics there. Well, looks good. Not what I was expecting at all. So, Google has given its most solid outline yet of its first major leap into the video game business, detailing a 2019 launch for its Stadia streaming service, including pricing and game selection. The plans, however, do not include a launch in Australia. Stadia can be thought of as like a traditional games console, except it lives in Google's cloud servers, sending you the video and audio and receiving your button inputs over the internet. This means you don't need a console, and you don't need to download or install games. You just hit a button on any supported screen to begin playing or pick up where you left off. Google will sell a Stadia controller, which connects to its servers directly for the lowest latency, and also offers dedicated buttons for Google Assistant and other features, or you can plug a USB controller, including any from Xbox or PlayStation, into your PC. During its first Stadia Connect broadcast, Google said the service will launch in November, and that players in 14 countries will be able to play their games on computers and tablets using the Chrome web browser, on TVs with a Chromecast attached, like that one behind me, or on a Pixel 3 smartphone. Google promised that in 2020 more countries and devices will be added. The broadcast put a big focus on the games that will be available at launch, showcasing adventures like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Metro Exodus, Final Fantasy XV, and the most recent trilogy of Tomb Raider games, shooters like Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein Youngblood, and Borderlands 3, and online games like The Division 2 and Elder Scrolls Online. Interestingly, the lineup also includes quick fighting games Mortal Kombat 11, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and Samurai Shodown, which should test the limits of Stadia's ability to deliver a low latency experience. Some big publishers, including Rockstar, EA, and Capcom, were listed as partners, but the games they're releasing on Stadia remain to be announced. Many expected Google to charge a regular fee for access to a Netflix-style buffet of games on the service, but it turns out Stadia players will still, for the most part, need to pay for each game. There will be a subscription called Stadia Pro, which will function a lot more like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold, and is priced identically to those services at $9.99 US a month. Pro subscribers will get free games, discounts on game purchases, and the exclusive ability to stream in 4K HDR and with 5.1 surround sound. There goes Australia's network. The first free game available at launch will be Destiny 2 and all its expansions. As for the kind of internet you'll need to play games on Stadia, Google indicated it would work at a 5 meg download speed, the same minimum for streaming Netflix, but it recommended a minimum of 10 megabits per second to ensure 60 frames per second performance. Streaming in HD and 60 frames a second with 5.1 channel sound will require around 20 meg, which is going to be the new limit on... no, that's the upload limit for NBN, isn't it? While 35 meg down will give you the best Stadia experience possible. The company said not to expect a smooth experience on mobile internet launch, but that should improve as 5G networks expand. Unless, of course, we kick out the 5G network companies. Huawei!
Just watching the video here, and I like that part of the demonstration where they go from he goes from his laptop, he stops playing, he picks up his phone, launches the app, starts playing in exactly the same spot that he started off from on the tablet, on the laptop, plays that for a bit, switches off that, goes across to the PC,
boots it up on the bigger screen,
starts in the same spot. So it's true multi-device. It's seamless
Now, can
seamless
you
gameplay.
imagine what people do with this? You get up in the morning, get ready for work, and then sit down for half an hour of gaming. Then you go out, catch the bus or train to work, and you sit there on your mobile network, continuing the same game. In your lunch break, you can play it on the mobile and on the train or bus on the way home. And then when you get home again, have dinner and start playing back on your computer again.
Yeah, or on your Chromecast.
Yep.
That's what I did with this one. He uses the Bluetooth, the Xbox controller on his tablet, and he's playing it on there, and then he unplugs it from there, goes across to his Chromecast, and then plays it on the Chromecast. You know, so I think that, to be honest, when Minecraft said they were doing cross-platform,
This is what we wanted. Yes.
This is what cross-platform means. It literally means it's the same game on every device, not 5 different games that just happen to be called the same thing.
Not Pocket Minecraft, where you play on the Pocket Minecraft servers and have limited functionality, and then the PC ones, and then the Java ones versus the Windows only version. And
and this is the thing, like, this is what people do, and this is what, there was a company that tried this a few years ago, but the technology wasn't there. But
Google might just be able to make it happen.
The only thing that's going to be the issue is going to be latency, which is not speed related but ping related.
Yep.
The more congested an internet provider gets, the higher the ping is.
Yep.
We suffer from bad pings at the best of times, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but even on a Minecraft server, a 16 to 20 millisecond ping in normal gameplay is okay, but as soon as you get into the combat, and it's really noticeable. A 20 millisecond ping can mean the difference between,
life and death,
getting the first hit in or not.
Yep.
But most servers being US based, you can have 80, 90, 100 millisecond pings, and that's unplayable. It's completely unplayable. So
too much rubber banding and block lag.
Yeah, but I mean, even in combat side of it, like, that's a full 2 or 3 moves behind what's actually happening.
And when you got those zombies and skellies kiting around you and strafing left and right, and you're where's he gone? Oh crap, he's behind me.
And so it's going to be interesting to see. As I said, like, it's not so much the speed that's going to be the issue; it's going to be the ping. So we'll see. I hope that they've got some sort of. See, there's a game. There's a couple of racing games that I play, and one of them, like GTA 5, handles ping lag better than Forza Horizon. Well, I don't know if it handles it better. It handles it differently. In Forza Horizon, if somebody goes into ping lag, the car goes into ghost mode, and the game tries to guess based on where they've been, where they're going to go, and it goes into ghost mode. So worst case scenario, when they reconnect, if the game gets it wrong, they're still there.
Yep.
But are you there? Or are you gone?
Oh,
no,
me.
your video went away. You back?
Yeah.
But with GTA, it just continues the vehicle on the last trajectory it was before the ping occurred. And then when it picks up where it was, it puts the vehicle back where it should be. So it can completely screw you up. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle a lag event, and if it's going to mess up.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell, I guess.
Yep. Well, it's not going to come here till 2020 or so anyway, so they'll have plenty of time to iron out stuff and get some Aussie servers going.
Well, that's the thing. I think they that's probably part of the reason they're not rolling it out yet, is because they don't have the servers here. As far as I know, Google only has one server farm in Australia. I believe. I could be wrong on that. Last I checked, anyway, they only had one server farm in Australia.
Yep.
Which was just a data farm. That's all it was. So I don't know. if they've improved that since then. But yeah, time. Although I tell you what, with our internet, sorry, it reminded me of this video I saw. I'll quickly play it. It's related to ping, but it's real life lag. Like if you lagged in real life like you did in games, like it's just reminded me. Talking about rubber banding in Minecraft, it just reminded me so much of that. If anybody's ever played Minecraft, you'll recognise a lot of these scenarios. But for those who are wondering what we're watching on the podcast, there's a YouTube video called "If Life Glitched Like Video Games." And this is exactly it's a very, very visual demonstration. It's funny, but it's a real demonstration of what we're actually talking about, how lag can affect scenarios.
I saw another one that had this guy who walks up the hallway and he's jogging up along the wall and across the other side back along that wall, but he's aiming at the wall but moving sideways, and then he gets a gap and he goes through there. There's
another one I wasn't going to play because it's got guns in it and YouTube and guns. Ooh. But there's one where they're mocking up a CS:GO scenario or something like that, and the guy's walking around with a rifle.
Yeah.
And this other guy's just walked up in front of him. And it's like bang, 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 bang. He's offloaded like 47 clips into this guy, and the other guy's like, and then like the other guy's like, whatever, and he wanders off, and then the guy who was standing there just like, he's just being shot like 20 seconds later. But yeah, I mean, as I was saying, internet's going to be a big thing, but according to the NBN, internet's no big deal. We don't need internet.
No. It's too fast. That's the problem in Australia. The internet is too damn fast.
Yeah, I know. It's a good problem to have. According to the NBN, most residential customers do not need 40 meg of upload, NBN has said. So as part of the consultation process, because it's always good when you consult your own company, it's wholesale pricing. The National Broadband Network is mulling the introduction of a 120 plan, which... Please don't.
People want 100, not 120.
Yeah, it's currently 140. And it's not really, because it's 120 at best now, generally.
That's why there'll be no difference, right?
Yeah.
It's already 120.
So now what they want to do is they want to make it down to 120, which will make it 110, because you only ever seem to get half of what you're supposed to get anyway. Basically, they're saying that our researchers said, because they researched the same 5 people they researched when they said that nobody needs speeds faster than 16.
Were they all politicians, by the way?
I think they were all. I think they were like they weren't even the politicians. They were like the ugly offspring of the politician that's locked in the basement with the chains around their neck. Like what was his name in Goonies?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think now. It's like that guy in Goonies.
Or the evil Bart Simpson.
Or evil Bart Simpson, yeah. That's who they're interviewing, because, like, no person in their right mind says, can I please have slower internet?
Yeah.
Do you offer a slower service? Can I have something slower? This internet's too fast for me.
Yeah. I just can't handle the speeds, man.
But now they've decided to change the 100 megabits plans. They're actually going to offering as low as 3 megabit a second.
Hooray!
Didn't we just leave DSL? Like, wasn't that a thing we just got rid of?
Yep.
Why are we going back to DSL speeds again?
Aren't we trying to hype up 5G as great because it's super fast and stuff? Right.
Maybe that's the plan. Maybe they're going to force everybody to go wireless so they don't have to actually spend any more money on infrastructure.
Yep.
But apparently they, between December and March quarters, over 166,000 people moved off 12.1. What?
12.1 speed.
Moved off 12/1 plans with the total dripping below 1 million, while 220 more have 25.5, taking the total to 114. The 336. What the hell? No, this is so badly written. The 336,000 premises now have 50 meg plans that puts the most popular plan at 2.6 million customers. Although the number of customers has dropped, they still account for a significant number. Although the number of customers on 12 megabit plans has dropped, they still... Yes, they've dropped because they've gone up to 50 meg plans.
Right?
They haven't dropped because they've gone down. Freaking seriously?
We want dial-up. We want dial-up. Nostalgia. I long for the old days of taking 2 hours to dial in because they didn't have enough modems to pick up because their modem to customer ratio was like 20-1 instead of 5-1.
Yeah, they take the Rockwell 14.4 chipsets and span them across multiple lines.
Yeah.
Yes, those were the days. Good old BBSs. Bring back the acoustic couplers.
Right? You still got one of them, haven't you?
Well, I thought I did until I went to Dad's place,
Oh.
and all my old computer gear is missing.
Oh, that's not good.
My Commodores, my Amstrads, my Amigas, my acoustic couplers, my old Atari 2E leases, everything. My Atari Apple 2E leases, Amiga 500s, tape drives, disk drives. It's all gone.
Oh, jeez. That's terrible news for a retro guy.
I wasn't overly impressed about that.
An old fat geek.
Apparently one of the roommates he got in went, "Oh, this is all garbage. You don't need any of this. Chuck it all out. I need the room."
Oh.
Oh, and my antique Valve record players.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
Somebody at the garbage dump got a good stash. Check eBay. Check Gumtree for a big sale on vintage stuff.
I only just discovered it, but apparently it was 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, no.
But for those who are wondering, this is an acoustic coupler. It was basically a pre-modem. You would literally take your handset,
Pots.
shove it in the 2 holes, and then dial a phone number to the billboard.
Yep.
Yeah, like that. That's how it would work. So it was like, yeah, really cool. I have one for my Commodore 64 actually. Which,
Just be careful with the scrolling there. Every time you scroll the screen, I get a through the audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's having trouble compressing audio and video, and it just goes really loudly in the ears at this end.
Nice. Well, there you go. Last time I tried to help you out. But yeah, they're yes. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like the internet here, they've had upgrades in the last every Sunday night between like midnight and 2 or 3 in the morning. They've done upgrades, and I swear it gets slightly slower every week. They're probably adding more people onto the network, I would say.
They're winding you back to 20. We still feel sorry for poor old Glenn. He might get an Indian one day.
But I mean, it's not like he's in a small little pokey town like I am.
I am.
He's like, I know. He's like just out of the middle of the Gold Coast. Like
get out of the Gold Coast, son. You're gonna get to pokey little town in the middle of nowhere, and you're cheering.
Yeah, that's what
we did.
I couldn't believe that. Eh?
That's ridiculous, mate. It's bloody ridiculous. I cannot believe it. Got any more stories, sir?
Plenty more. You want to go? Or you got...
I just did a Google one. Then we got sidetracked for half an hour talking about how the internet sucks in Australia.
Well, speaking about internet sucking, Facebook. They've released the new crypto tampon. I think that's how it's called.
Yay!
They've released their own crypto. Well, okay, not technically their own. They're sharing with a lot of other people. Crypto called Libra.
Has it got wings? It's got to have wings.
I don't.
Otherwise, it won't fly.
I don't know, but I can pad this story a bit more if it helps.
Gonna go on the iPad.
Yeah, you can only use it on an iPad. Or as my 3-year-old calls it, the iTab. Because he's got an iPad at daycare and a tablet at home, so he gets the two confused and calls it an iTab. But yeah, so basically the short version of this story, which is really long, drawn out and complex because I don't know why.
Facebook, that's why.
Yeah, but basically they decided to do their own crypto. Nobody can understand why. Nobody knows why. Nobody can see it making sense. Even a lot of the shareholders and the board of directors, excuse me. But basically what it is, I'm trying to find...
Just use Ethereum, son.
Yeah. Straight.
Or Engine. Engine is fantastic. It's great for gaming too.
The way I can sort of figure it is that... oh, excuse me. When you look at the companies involved with it, it's kind of a very interesting group of people that it's all the major players. I'll bring up a screenshot over here. So hopefully that comes out. But you can see it's all the major corporations. There's Facebook, of course, but then you've got PayPal, Coinbase, you've got Uber, you've got MasterCard, you've got
eBay,
Vodafone and Visa and Stripe and eBay and Spotify and Lyft. There's all these major...
And Iliad. The hell's Iliad?
Iliad. It's the thing. It does the thing.
Yeah, obviously.
I've heard of it. I can't think what it is off the top of my head. But there's a whole heap of these major corporations, and they're real world corporations. They're not just online entities.
Yep.
These all have massive, massive turnovers, and they're all major shareholders in a lot of them within themselves. They're all sort of inbred, but they've got a lot of clout in the real world of financial banking and that sort of thing. So it's a little scary. They're basically, if you want to read between the lines, it's effectively what the euro is supposed to be in the real world. The euro is supposed to be a one-size-fits-all currency for the world.
Yep.
International. And this is basically what they're trying to do with this, from what I can tell.
One world currency.
Yeah, effectively. Because all the big players are there. So it's got all your major influences.
So when can I set up my mining machine?
So, well, depending on whose article you read, because I don't think anybody knows for sure. There seems to be a fair bit of guessing going on at the moment. This one's from the one I'm reading. The most recent one I found is from CoinDesk. CoinDesk, obviously, predominantly like that. That's what they do, is crypto news. Well, their main news is crypto, I should say.
Yeah.
But they don't 100% know even the structure of it. They don't know if it is mineable. They don't know if it's purely a fiat base. They don't know if it's going to be like a reward based thing. So if you're on Facebook and you do certain things, you get a certain amount of currency back.
Do surveys. That's fun.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
0.0001 Libra flows.
They look like, the one thing they can all agree on is it's going to be like a closed loop.
Yep.
So once you're vested in that currency, you can't get it out. You have to just trade it within its own infrastructure. So, for example, PayPal is there. So if you got this currency in Facebook and you wanted to, you could probably trade it for Facebook credits, which you could trade for real money. You know what I mean? Like, you can only trade it within. It doesn't look like it's going to be on
locked in the ecosystem.
Like it's going to be just purely within its own partners.
Yep.
So, but we'll see. I don't know. I hope they'll probably do it. But Facebook's destroying itself from the inside anyway. So whether or not it's even around long enough for it to be an issue.
No. You see the horror stories about the poor moderators. One guy died of a heart attack because he was just there day and night moderating violent and graphic, horrible content. Other people have got PTSD and stuff now.
Yeah, because they take down things that that you.
And the next day it gets uploaded again.
They found some Fruit Loop somewhere, and suddenly your account's blocked for 24 hours.
Yep. So, a physical driver's license could soon be a thing of the past, with one state set to roll out digital permits in the coming months. New South Wales has been conducting a trial of new digital driver's license with about 14,000 participants and will now implement the technology across the state. Treasurer Dominic Perrottet said they announced the move in today's New South Wales budget, allowing people to use their smartphones as a kind of virtual wallet. The opt-in system includes driver's license, proof of identity and proof of age cards, which people will be able to use when accessing licensed venues or interacting with police. Digital ID cards can be accessed from Secure My Service New South Wales app on a smartphone, protected with a PIN. Smartphones have become de facto wallets, and we're using cutting-edge technology so that drivers can use digital license in everyday scenarios. The DDL is hosted securely on the Service New South Wales app, locked with a PIN, and can be accessed offline. It will provide additional levels of security and protection against identity fraud compared to the plastic driver's license. The program will now be extended statewide in coming months. However, it will always be an opt-in program with no plans to completely replace physical IDs, the government said. And during the continuing trial, motorists will be required to also carry their physical license and present it if requested. To participate in the trials and the subsequent statewide rollout, eligible licence holders need to create a My Service New South Wales account, download the mobile app on their device and opt in for the digital driver's licence. So I downloaded the app and logged into my account. I can get a fishing licence on there or working with children's licence on there, but not a driver's licence as yet. I'm not one of the lucky 14,000.
Yeah, to be Metro. You mean this is, Queensland did this 6 or 8 years ago, right?
No, it's Australia. It's New South Wales first. It says here.
And then they canned it when they decided that it was too much work. They forced everybody to switch over to smart card licenses.
Yep.
And then there was all this information put up online. You could access it all online. And then they had the infrastructure 95% complete after spending something like, I think it was $2.5 billion or something on it. And then they went, nah, don't worry about it.
Gone. Don't they have this kind of trouble with like My Health and stuff like that up there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so like.
And the card network for transport.
So bad. But yeah, they did this exact thing. On the upside, if New South Wales are smart, they'll just go to Queensland and go, hey, can we have that program that you're not using anymore?
Save us all the research time and money.
Because it was they spent, I think it was $2.5 billion, something like that on it. And they woke up one morning and went, no, that'll do. We've done enough. Sorry about it. It's gonna work.
Everybody fired. You'll go find your job.
Look, is it a good idea? I don't know. Me, because I'm too lazy to go and stand in the line, probably. But
yep.
Would I recommend the average person get it? Probably not. I think
a lot of people just want to carry their smartphone around and don't want to carry a credit card plus driver's license plus all this other crap.
See, that's me. Like, I'm happy just to carry my phone. I've got all my Google Pay and everything. It's all on here, but I still need a wallet because I've got to carry my license. Yep. And a few other, so for me, it's fine because it's one less thing I've got to lose.
And use Stow card for your loyalty cards at shops and stuff. I put my Big W card on there, and when I go to Big W, I just scan it.
Some of them don't work. I was using it on
Lowe's menswear.
Super Cheap Auto, I think it was.
Yep.
And their scanners can't scan the code.
Ah.
And Costco won't let you use it.
Oh, what's the point of that?
If you don't physically present the card, they won't let you in.
So you got to keep that one just what?
You've got to present your card And
Keep
you've
your
got to present
card
your driver's-
inside there, just in the back of your one card for Costco, and that's it.
You got to present your Costco card, and you got to present your driver's license. Otherwise, they won't let you in.
Wow.
Because I care
Exclusive.
that much.
Well, I can't be bothered going to Costco today, can I?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it comes down to. I'm like, if you're at the checkout, right, and you've got $5,000 worth of stuff,
Yep.
and your credit card has a $3,000 daily limit on it, and you go to pay for $3,000 of it, and then you go to use somebody else's card who's got a $2,000, who can pay the other $2,000, they won't accept it because it's not your name on the card.
We don't want your money here, sir. Off with
I'll
you.
lose the sale because it's not your name on the card.
Wow.
They're dopey.
Well,
No
give
wonder
me a
why.
refund on the first card, and you can take this trolley back. Good luck packing it all away.
Exactly.
I went to Costco once in Melbourne just with a friend just to check it out, but that's the only time I've been.
I've been there and I've looked around, and there's probably maybe a dozen items that would save a few dollars on.
Yeah.
So unless, it's just not worth
And it's not
buying.
exactly down the road from you, is it?
From my work it is actually. It's not that far. It's only 10 minutes down the road from work.
Oh, okay.
But honestly, there's no reason for me to go there. There was some of the condiments and stuff is cheaper, and some of the what else was cheaper? Spreads and that's cheaper. And probably the only thing that is noticeably cheaper is pharmaceuticals.
Oh, okay.
So anything in the pharmaceutical side of it is definitely cheaper. But other than that, there's no point. You wouldn't go out of your way to go there. Put it that way. If you happen to be in the area, yeah, okay, you'd go there. But you're not going to go out of your way to go there. There's just not enough money to be saved by doing that.
Yeah.
It looks impressive, but when you break it down and do the maths on it, it's not. You're
Too
not
much
saving
trouble.
much money at all.
So, you got any stories for us to go into now?
Yeah, just a quick one. Samsung, well, I got a couple, but Samsung will launch the Galaxy Note 10 on August 7th.
The Note 10?
So, yeah. It says Galaxy Note 10 up the top.
It does this
It's not a
time.
Galaxy. Well,
Is it?
no, they're not Galaxy. They're just Note because the Galaxy is the one you've got. But anyway,
Yep.
um, yeah, I don't like it because it's got the wraparound screen, and wraparound screens, as far as I'm concerned, are useless. When you're sweaty and sticky and feral, and my hand's already big enough that as it is, I touch the side of this screen, and this isn't a wraparound.
I do
So-
as well, even just reaching across on the other side of this phone. And
That's
my
right.
my
So-
palm touches that side and it selects, and I didn't want it. Oh, bloody thing.
Yeah, so that's a deal breaker for me. I won't even be not even remotely interested in it.
You're waiting for the
Um,
Huawei anyway.
Yeah, I know, but even if I wasn't, even if this phone was something that I was interested in up until they put the curved screen on them, and
That's it.
don't care in the slightest now. Microsoft, not that we care, rolls out the previews of the new Chromium-based Edge for Windows.
Yep.
So the Edge browser, if people who don't know, it comes default Windows 10, but it's this cut-down version. Originally, it was based on IE, I think, but it was just a cut-down, no frills version. There's a meme getting around that the only thing that you use Edge for is to download Chrome.
Yep.
But I'm not going to worry about running it because I already run Chrome, and I run Canary, which is a 64-bit version of Chrome, and on my Linux box I run Chromium anyway, so there's no point running another version
You're all
of Chrome.
chromed up.
And actually, if you run Chrome on your phone, it's actually Chromium. So yeah, but for people who have Edge, be good to look forward to. It'll slightly secure that
And be more compatible with things, perhaps.
Yeah, it might actually work. But internet.
Dear, dear.
Speaking of Chrome, the whole ad block thing, where it's supposed to stop the blocking of ads, doesn't happen
Not
yet.
happening.
Mine still works as well as it always had. I'm using external ad blocking plugin, the
Yep.
ad blocker plugin, but I haven't had any problems with it not working.
I went fully
Uh,
Firefox and then found out that LastPass doesn't work with that, so I had to throw that out and I got Bitwarden and transferred all my stuff there. And I can use Bitwarden to do the same thing as LastPass, which was costing me $12 a year, and Bitwarden's free. So, upgrade I didn't even know I could get. Things are better.
Now, just a quick question. How long have we roughly been recording for? Because I've got a couple of
Um,
stories potentially both be quite long.
50, 50
Okay, so
minutes.
we've got a few minutes. Okay, so quickly, this one here. Now, MailChimp. You may or oh wow, you may or may not know what MailChimp is.
It's my job
Basically,
to know.
hey,
It's literally my job to know.
yeah. Well, you know, but basically, it's a bulk email service, effectively. That's the short version of what it is.
Yep.
If you've got to do a bulk mail out and you don't want to get your mail flagged as spam, or maybe you do want to get it flagged as spam, depending on your clientele, you go to MailChimp and go, hey, we want to run a marketing campaign targeting these people. Go nuts, basically, is the short
Yep.
version. But it's not what they did, it's how they did it here that bugs me. So basically, they decided that they're going to ban any content in relation to anti-vaccination. They're not going to run it. If you've paid for a subscription, too bad, you're not going to get your ads run. Now, my issue, well, firstly, you know, the fact they've banned whatever content they want doesn't faze me because they're a private company. They have the right to do that. Same as Facebook, same as any other company. If they don't want to show something, they don't have to show it. There's no freedom of speech expression with a private company. It just doesn't happen.
Yep.
My issue is that out of all the changes that they made and all the things that they banned and all the things they blacklisted and everything that happened, this one phrase was picked out to put into the media. This one decision to ban anti-vaccination content, out of everything that they did and everything they changed, that is what came out of it. And every article you read will say that.
Right.
My issue isn't with private companies doing whatever they want. That's fine. My issue is with the mainstream media effectively. They're effectively, you know, freedom of the internet is something that's been talked about for a long time, and having access to uncensored material, regardless of what you think about it, what you think about the material is irrelevant. The fact that it needs to be there on both sides of the story, all the information uncensored, and let people make out their own mind. That's the whole point of the internet. But the way this is portrayed by the media, the way the stories are written, Amber Mack, I had a debate with her on her Facebook page about this. Amber MacArthur, for those who don't know, she's a brilliant lady. She's been in the tech industry for 20 years. She knows the stuff. Lovely lady, but she really missed the boat on this one. And I don't normally tell her off, but I told her off on this one, and she actually rethought about her approach. But my issue is that this led on to other things about watering down the internet, basically public information and what should and shouldn't be allowed. Like, then they're saying, well, okay, it's since MailChimp's banned it, why doesn't, you know, Google ban search results, and why doesn't, you know, all this other stuff? We just had a massive debate a few years ago, and freedom of speech finally, after several years, won, and you had the right to put whatever you wanted online in the correct platform, of course, but you're allowed to speak your mind. Now that's been locked up again. It's getting to the point where you're not allowed to say what you want to say, and whether you're correct or whether you're right or wrong isn't the issue. That's completely irrelevant. You need to understand, for the information on the internet to be truly free, it has to be free from bias as well. Your opinion doesn't matter. only the facts matter, and the only way you can have the facts is by having all the information. If you don't have all the information, you can't have facts. And that's what it comes down to. And by MailChimp, who's one of the largest spam emailers, effectively, or bulk emailers, only allowing one side of the story to get across. They're partly responsible for this, but as I said, they're a private company, they can do that. But yeah, the way this was portrayed in the media and the way the tech articles reported this was horrendous. They're basically saying, hey, it's a huge win for freedom of speech on the internet. No, it's the exact opposite to freedom of speech on the internet. It has the exact... There was one... an article a few weeks ago where a professor at one of the universities had written an article, I think it was in Melbourne, had written an article about how all the numbers were fudged and all the articles were fudged for the Great Barrier Reef and how fast it was dying off and the growback rates and all this sort of stuff. And he got stood down from the university and his papers got pulled from online because he had the hide to stand out. You know, the university was promoting conservation and promoting, climate change and all this other garbage that whatever they want to do. But because he had the hide to go against them, his work got discredited and he got banned. And he won a court case a few weeks ago. And the court case said, well, he's a public figure. He can publicly... his research was done at his own time. It's not owned by the university, so he can publicly put up his papers without fear of discrimination. The university can't do anything about it. No. And they offered to take him back, but he told him to go jump.
Yeah.
But this is exactly the same thing. There's a very fine line between a private company setting out their terms of service and a conglomeration of people dictating to you what you can and can't do. So for me, this is just a very good lesson on thinking for yourself and going, well, hang on, something's not right here. Why is that particular thing being taken out of context so dramatically compared to everything else? Like, they changed the terms of service. They changed dozens of lines in the terms of service. There's one thing was made publicly known.
Yeah.
Why? What's the agenda behind pushing that one thing? So, anyway, that's a bit of a rant. So I don't know. Do you have any more tangible information?
Not relating to that, no.
But basically, what I'm saying is, just because somebody says it's good or somebody says it's bad, don't. And Facebook's the worst platform for that. A friend posts a story about saying, "Oh, look, this is great. Everybody needs to do this," and then 100,000 people do it, and then 5 million people do it, and then it turns out the whole thing's a hoax or the whole thing's wrong or whatever. But because nobody's bothered to fact check, and everybody, hey, I saw it on Facebook, it must be real.
Yeah.
That mindset needs to stop. That mindset is causing the issues we're having today in society in general. Everybody assumes that everything that they see is fact. Yeah. It's not. Vast majority of it is not. And most of it takes very, very little research to prove or deny. It does not take very much effort at all. But it's the fact that our society is so lazy and the first result in Google is always right.
Yeah. That's why everyone wants to be the first result. Yeah, well, that's exactly right. That's why something like DuckDuckGo or something like that is a much better option, because they're not biased results. Yeah.
People haven't paid to be there. Just quickly, and this is something else that's going to... I've just noticed this story, so I haven't read much into it. I want to do a bit more research, but potentially going to be a problem. A 26-year-old student in the UK has become the first individual to be convicted after using a 3D printer to manufacture a firearm. Kendall Muswee. Apparently Muswee. That's why he printed the gun. A student lives in London, pleaded guilty to the charge of manufacturing a 3D printed gun in Southwark Crown Court on Wednesday. His home was raided based on a separate drug warrant. Law enforcement searched his new home. They discovered components belonging to a 3D printed gun on 2 separate occasions. While the student claimed he was not aware the weapon could be fired, and the only reason the gun had been printed was for university film project. Saying, he watched online tutorials on how to create a 3D gun capable of live firing. Now, this, ignore the fact his home was raided on drug charges, but that's an irrelevant topic. But the fact is that they found parts of a weapon, not even a whole gun. They found parts of a weapon printed on a 3D printer that, in their current form, was unable to fire live ammunition. However, because technically it's possible that at some point that could be weaponized, he's been put up on gun charges.
It's a bit much.
So basically what that means is that precedent, it hasn't gone to court yet, which is why I'm going to watch this story and see what happens once it goes to court. But what it basically means is every cosplayer, every collector, every children's toy, effectively, in a house now, if this goes through, you'll be able to charge with possessing a firearm.
It's a bit ridiculous.
So, yeah, need to keep an eye on the story, because this is in the UK, and generally whatever happens in the UK gets passed over here as well.
Right.
So you're going to need to keep an eye on the story and follow it up in a few weeks when it goes to court and whatever. But that's a really dangerous precedent to be setting. The fact that basically anything that remotely resembles, like that, for example. Now that is the legs for a what they call an MP-CNC, or a mostly printed CNC. This is sizing up. But if you walked in and saw that sitting on a desk, well, anybody who's ever seen movies will know exactly what that looks like, and I ain't saying it because I've had enough trouble with the internet tonight.
Don't jinx yourself, son.
But basically, yeah, I mean, technically that's 90% of a pipe bomb.
Yep.
Right? All that needs is shrapnel and a fuse, and that's a pipe bomb. So even though it's completely innocent, it's nothing to do with it, and it's for a completely unrelated project, if this story sets a precedent, and somebody, say, oh, I don't know, my brother-in-law's ex, who hates my guts, decides that they want to be, well, show their real colours, I guess, they could phone a friend and have me done for possessing a dangerous weapon.
Yep.
They don't need, with this precedent to go through, they don't need to, it doesn't need to work, it doesn't need to function. They can just go, hey, he's making a pipe bomb. We can tell by looking at it.
Yeah.
What's that? that's not a thing. That's not how the law works.
Yeah.
So anyway, just thought I'd just bring that one up just to make people wary that I love 3D printers. I think they're the best things ever. I've got one. I use it all the time. Well, it's broken at the moment, but other than that, I use it all the time. You know, I love technology, but this sort of stuff has to be stopped before it gets started. Yes, you can print a fireable weapon with a 3D printer. It's been done on numerous occasions.
You can also buy some molds and do it that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can make molds out of sand and cast it out of aluminium as well. Or you can actually buy, if you go and have a look at the last Adam Savage Tested YouTube channel, they literally just 3D printed the Iron Man out of Marvel Universe. They literally just 3D printed his entire uniform in titanium. Yeah. And it worked. It's gun-proof. Like, they fired shotguns at it and it didn't penetrate through it. It's heat-proof. It's light enough that they can actually fire it, like fly it. and it can be weaponized, and that can be 3D printed in titanium with the printer directly. So, I think there's got to be a line.
Sometimes they go too far.
So.
Here's something that you might be interested in, Mr. T. Every day, 5.7 million people ride the subway in New York City and are subjected to both the whims of the Metropolitan Transport Authority and the unheard-of reliability of a marginally successful operating system from the early 1990s. OS2 and MTA consultant Neil Waldhauser said in an email, for a few years you could bet your career on OS2. To understand why, you need to understand the timing. Waldhauser continues, the design is from a time before either Linux or Windows was around. OS2 would have seemed like a secure choice for the future. So for a lack of options, the MTA went with its best one, and it's worked out for decades as one of the key software components of a quite complex system. Despite the failure of OS2 in the consumer market, it was hilariously robust, leading to a long life in industrial and enterprise systems, with one other famous example being ATMs. Thinking about all the operating systems in use in the MTA, I'd have to say that OS2 is probably the most robust part of the system except for the mainframe. It's still in use in the NYC subway system in 2019. IBM had long given up on it, even allowing another company to maintain the software in 2001. These days, a firm named Arca Noir sells an officially supported version of OS2, Arca OS, though most of its users are in similar situations to the MTA. How about that?
I remember I was working at I was doing work placement at IBM in Sydney at the launch of OS2 Warp.
Ah, that was a great operating system before Microsoft stole the ideas. I mean,
and we actually had on a lot. We went and rolled it out on. Well, I did a Woolworths rollout. Rolled it out on all their servers on Woolworths.
Yep.
And they had 11.5-inch floppies. I think they were.
Right.
11-inch floppies. Some massive big floppy disks. But yeah, so we rolled them out on those. We rolled them out on one of the university campuses down there. Obviously rolled it out throughout IBM and through all the things there, and had it on our CD burning farm that they had going.
Yep.
To burn all the copies of OS2. They had towers, maxi towers with 8 SCSI single speed burners in them, and they had about 20 of these towers along the wall.
Wow.
And all they did was they just duplicated whatever was in the top tray. They just duplicated on all the other trays.
Yep.
So it worked out really well. You basically, I think it might have been a bit more, maybe a 30, something like that. But basically you'd put the top disk in, and then you'd load up the trays, and as you loaded them, they'd automatically start burning. You walk to the next machine, load them up, close them, and then by the time you got to the end of the run, the first ones that started spitting back out, so you'd walk back up, take them out. So yeah, that was fun. But that was
a job to keep you fit.
Yeah, it was not a bad job actually. It was pretty cushy. And then that was the days when the ThinkPad had not long, or it was still IBM ThinkPad back then, and it was just in the early days of launching the like the Pentium. Actually, no, the 686 chips in those things.
Ah.
Yeah, and they were like 166s, something like that.
Yep.
Remember the rollout on those, and then like a week later they all came back in because they rolled them all out with like Seagate hard drives in them, and all the hard drives had collapsed, so they recalled them all and put all like Mac stores or something in them and sent them back out again.
Mac Store, there's a name from the past.
Mac Store, Seagate, Quantum. Connors, yeah.
WD.
Yeah, well, they're still around. I think Seagate and Western Digital are about the only ones that are still around, I think.
Yeah.
Or of the original ones, anyway. The old Bigfoots.
Yeah. I can't even remember if I had one. I don't think I had a Bigfoot.
They were hell of a drive. Just the whole bloody tower would start shaking, and it was great. It actually I remember I had one. I think it was 800 meg.
Yep.
It was that bad that if you're listening to audio CD in the CD-ROM, it would actually shake the tower that much it'd make the CD skip. It was shocking.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, enough of that.
Yeah, thanks for listening to the Aussie Tech Heads show. Broadcast weekly. We can be found at facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads, twitter.com/Aussie Tech Heads, and youtube.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Email us at Glenn, Will, and Warlock at aussietechheads.com.au. You can hear Aussie Tech Heads on aussietechradio.com, 24/7 back-to-back play of some of the best tech-related shows from around Australia and New Zealand. New shows added each Friday. So don't forget to tune in again next week. Glennie will be back, and we'll have another hiatus until he needs us again so he can watch the footy or whatever he's getting up to.
That's it.
And we'll catch you all around next time. Bye.
Bye.
Blip, blip, blip. He's gone.